Hello, everyone, and welcome to FutureTech Careers Career Conversation Pathways to Cybersecurity. If you have been to a FutureTech Career Conversation before, you'll notice something different, and that's we're in a new space. So let's make some noise for the new auditorium.
Yay!
Oh, you guys can do better than that. Come on. Thank you. People on Zoom, I trust that you are clapping at home. As I said, my name is Linus Cackley. I'm the program coordinator for Future Tech Careers. Future Tech Careers is a program here on campus dedicated to supporting students in computer science programs and advanced manufacturing programs. You can think of us like your own tailored career services department that can help you specifically in your major and in your career pathway. So, currently, right now, you're sitting at a career conversation. We host these events every week when we bring in speakers to talk about the tech industry or to talk about a skill that you'll need to thrive in your career. So, today, I'm excited to welcome Richard Maloli. This is his third career conversation with us today. So, let's make some noise for Richard and take it away.
Thank you, Linus. Appreciate it very much. Can I actually have the clicker real quick, though?
Glad you said that.
Thanks. Yeah, I've got the same one. Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Richard Maloli the second. I'm very, very happy to be here. Small little crowd here. Hopefully there's a bunch of people online. Um, I'd like to thank GRCC real quick for allowing me to come out here and talk about this stuff. I think it's important to talk about this. And I really appreciate the opportunity because I hope to see many of you in future careers, hopefully around cybersecurity, because that's where I work. Um, I am a hacker. I do all sorts of fun stuff, and I'll tell you all about that today. Um, I do ask if you have questions, please hold them until like the end because I'm going to talk about a few things first. I also have a whole list of questions from prior um, conversations that I'm going to go through that. Maybe it answers your question, maybe it doesn't. You know. So a little bit about me. Um, my name is Richard. I am a senior security consultant. I'm also an ethical hacker, meaning that I don't actually do the things I do unless I'm being paid by somebody to do it. Very important. Don't break the law. Don't you don't want to do that. I love steak. I'm a medium rare kind of guy. Love a good martini, good old fashioned once in a while. I am married. My spouse's name is Tabitha. I've got some fur babies. I've got two pit bulls and a cat, although the cat is a little bit in question. She's kind of a rabbit at times, a ferret. It's weird. Quick disclaimer, added this one. This is a new one today. Everything I say today is my own opinion. It's not that of my employer or my clients. Just real quick about that. So also new this time, I'm an avid hiker and backpacker. If I'm not out hacking or reading or hanging out with my family, I try to be outside whenever possible. Very important to be physically fit and all that. So there are some lessons from hiking that I think tie in really well for what I'm talking about today. And those three lessons very, very quickly. Hike your own hike, embrace the suck, and there is no bad weather, just poor preparation. And I think that's pretty darn apt for finding a career in this world. So let's talk about my educational history real quick. Um, you can see it pretty clearly there. I actually spent some time here. I absolutely adore this college and the community here. If you're here, I'm really happy for you, and I'd like to say you made the right choice. If I could go back to school and come here, in fact, I guess technically I can, I'm actually considering taking more classes here because I do believe in the mission here. So I was here for a few years, had a really good time there. I graduated high school in 2005 from Forest Hills Northern. Go Huskies. Love them. After I spent some time here, while I was here, I did a lot of things. I did computer classes, obviously, because I do computer stuff. Took an acting course, which was a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. Took debate, public speaking, ethics, psychology, child psychology, economics, micro and macro. Great times there. Um, this is your opportunity to find what you're good at and what you enjoy doing. Take electives, enjoy that time. I then went to Grand Valley State University only for about a year. I'm actually dropped out. You're not going to hear many people say that they dropped out of college at a career conversation, but I did drop out actually. It just wasn't a good fit. I was engaged, about to get married. I was working full time. I was living off campus. Not a good situation for me, so I dropped out. Life happened, right? I started to worked at a large corporation here in town for a while, and that was going okay. I was making money. I was enjoying life. Got married, bought a house, all that fun stuff. Then I realized quite quickly that there's a ceiling, right? There's a ceiling if you don't have your 4-year degree. There's a ceiling if you don't get with the program, unfortunately, here in America. So I decided to go back to school. Went to Davenport, got my degree from there. So I actually do have a 4-year degree in cybersecurity information systems from Davenport University. Really good time there. And after that, I've been working. Here is my work history, real quickly, kind of abbreviated there. You'll notice, first and foremost, though, nothing there says security until, no, is there a laser? I don't know. Until the very bottom. So I'm here to talk about my career in cybersecurity, but I think it's very important to talk about the fact that I didn't start here, and you're not going to start here, right? We already had one person that I talked to today who said they left high school and they went into HVAC work. Great. That's awesome. Didn't work out the right way. That's also okay. That's life, right? So I spent some time as an intern. I spent some time at iServe Internet, a local internet service provider. I did customer service. You call in. Hi, thanks for calling iServe. My name is Richard. How can I assist you today? Right? I did that day in and day out. More internships at Amway here in town. I did everything from Windows servers to projects to Unix servers to running, I believe, nearly 2 miles of fiber optic cabling for a new storage array 1 year. A lot of varied stuff. After that, I needed a job, right? So I just went on to Craigslist and I found this job at ZZ Performance. I was a contractor for a little bit. Then they brought me on as the full IT administrator, and I did that. Then I called myself the director of IT at 20 years old. Great way to bump up the resume. Use those words carefully. Enjoyed the work. Didn't enjoy the company. They were not making the most ethical decisions, in my opinion. So I left, went back to Amway as an intern again, did more work. And if you ever watched the movie Office Space, if you haven't, add that to your list of movies to watch. There's a scene there where Milton has been there forever, right? And they've been trying to get rid of this guy forever. They keep moving his desk around. Turns out they fired him like 10 years ago, but he never got the memo, so he's still working and collecting a paycheck. That was me at Amway. My job stopped, but they kept paying me, so I just stayed and did more work. That was going great until it wasn't. So I eventually left, went to Open Systems Technologies, and discovered that I really enjoy consulting. And so working with clients and doing large scale projects and trying to get them from point A to point B to point Z. Love doing that. And then finally, an opportunity to join the security team opened up, and that's when I moved over to the security team. And I've been doing that ever since. So, come on. First lesson, hike your own hike. That was my story. That was my pathway from high school, education, and early work experience to get to my career. Your journey is going to be very, very different. Um, you're going to hear a whole bunch of speakers over your life that'll tell you, do this or do that. Well, take the advice. Just remember, it's your hike. Hike it your own way. Take that job that sounds like fun. Do that thing that's going to be new and interesting. Go on a vacation, go on a trip. Do it. It's going to be worth it. So, what's a day in life for a security consultant like myself? First and foremost, I'm always in front of a computer. That's the job. I'm in front of a computer. I always have one with me. Normally, I'm at a client. So my clients are located around the world, around America, so I'm traveling a lot. I spend a lot of time in my car. I spend a lot of time in airports. That's just the job. If I'm not at the client, I'm usually out of my home office or my actual corporate office here in town. Although I prefer my home office, it's a little bit nicer. My technology works. My primary thing that I do day in and day out is assess the overall security posture and risk of an organization. So I'm looking for vulnerabilities, I'm looking for areas of risk, I'm looking for areas of concern. And then I report that back to those stakeholders and give them ideas as to how do I reduce or mitigate that risk. That's my job, day in and day out. I'm not doing that. I'm updating our scripts. I'm writing new scripts for automation. I'm doing research. I set aside time every Friday to read. I call it Read Only Friday. I do a lot of writing. And once in a while, unfortunately, I have to be in meetings. Like today. Today, I had to give a presentation to a client. I give a presentation to a client at least twice a week. Just something you got to do. So, in short, clients do in fact hire me to break the law. That's my job. And I love that fact. I love the fact that I can walk up to somebody and say, hey, I broke the law today. It's fun. Um, I have to put in a note on AI and LLMs and all that, although something tells me there might be people in this room that know more about this stuff than I do. So, I could probably learn a lesson later on today. Um, It's all around us. It's becoming a thing that we can't escape. It's in every product and service, and every company is hawking it, right, day in and day out. Um, Choose one or two. Do something. I use ChatGPT a lot. I use Claude and Gemini once in a while. Use the tools. They're there for you. Just remember a few basics about it. It's been trained on the internet. You've been on the internet, that's a bad thing normally. So there's a lot of bad code on the internet. So what you get from it may not be correct. It hallucinates. These are programmed to give you an answer, right or wrong. It's going to give you an answer, and it's going to be confident about that answer. So what I like to do is tell the prompt, don't be confident. If you don't know it, don't tell me, right? So you have to work through those things, but that's on you to actually work on that and do that. I do recommend using it. I don't like it for creative stuff like that picture that I made there. That is AI. Don't tell my wife. She's a creative person. I don't like using it for that kind of stuff. It's not the good point, in my opinion, but technical things, right? Ideation, um, brainstorming, scripting. I've got this paragraph of text. Can you clean it up and make it sound a little bit nicer, right? Great use cases. They save me a bunch of time. So use that. All of that to say, one lesson is to embrace the suck. No one likes going to meetings. No one likes being at the airport at 5 a.m. That is just the life that this entails at times, right? So embrace the suck. Um, I This lesson from hiking I learned really early on. I was hiking up in the Upper Peninsula on the North Country Trail for like 3 days, and literally hour number two, day one, hiking, and there's a stream. No, no, it's a creek. No, it's a river where the trail is. And I was wearing giant waterproof boots. And those are great for like an inch of water, but not like a foot of water. And so I had wet boots for 3 days. Nothing you can do. So embrace that suck. Sometimes you have to do that. But what should you be doing today? I've got a few ideas. You need to have soft skills. Soft skills are what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to you. I'm in front of a group of people presenting both in person and remotely. Soft skills are writing, they're oral, they're presentation, putting on a suit jacket, doing your hair, they're knowing when to take a step back, knowing when to lean into that conversation, right? It's being able to walk up into a group of people and have that conversation, to join in at the right time. Those are soft skills. We don't teach soft skills normally. At least I never had a soft skills 101 in college, right? We do a complete disservice to students uh, on that. Learn soft skills. And the only way to learn that is to do it. It's awkward. It's weird. Sorry. That's life. Again, embrace the suck. You got to build your technical skills. I already heard a conversation about Python and Linux and stuff like that, right? Those are technical skills. Adding, subtraction, technical skill. It either is or it isn't, right? So scripting, technical skill. Um, Knowing facts, technical skills. Being the expert on that thing, technical skill. You get that by honing, by practice, by learning. That's a technical thing you can set out to do. There's a ton of resources for technical skills. College will give you the basics, and especially the history. College gives you the why do we do this? How do we get from here to here now, right? That's college. Everything else is going to be on your own. And sadly, your future employers are not going to teach you everything you need to know. You need to come to the table with some of this. I hate to say that, and I'm hoping your professors tell you that, but if they don't, I'm going to tell you that. Unfortunately, employers want you to come to the table ready to go. On the job training is still a thing, but not universal and not as expected, unfortunately. I have an issue with some hiring managers because of that. Now, me, I actually prefer, you know, clay. I like people that don't have bad skills or bad history already, so I can teach you everything brand new. I prefer that. Um, but not everybody does. Most employers want you to be employable day zero. Set a goal, and that goal can be anything. Anything's a goal. For the longest time, my goal was to be the CIO of a Fortune 100 company. Is that still my goal? Not really. Not right now. Right now, my goal is to make it to retirement at my current company. I think that's a fine goal. I've got other goals, but that's my primary goal. Make it to the end, right? I turned 40 this year. Turn 40, you start thinking about, 27 years till retirement at that point, right? Like that's a conversation I have to have with myself. For the younger folks out there, though, what are your goals? They can be a lot smaller. They can be, I want to get this job. I want to get a job in this company or this business sector. Those are good goals. I do recommend setting yourself just a little bit higher, please, because it's something that you can work towards, and that's the goal. You got to do networking and meetups. That goes back to that soft skill part. You have to do it. This right here, I'm so thankful that there are people in the room and online and that this is an opportunity for you because this is perfect. You get to meet people like me and others. You can sit down with us and have conversations and figure out what sounds good to you. But you have to do this work. Um, I will tell you something else that a lot of people, older people, will not tell you. Oftentimes, it's not what you know, it's who you know that's going to get you a job. You can be the most technical person in the world, but if you don't know anyone, who's going to hire you? How are you going to hear about that job? Networking. That's how you do it. Say what you will do and do what you say. I think that's pretty self explanatory, but sometimes I have to explain stuff. When I tell somebody that I'm going to do something, I do it. It may not be that moment, may not be that day, but it's going to get done. That is how you prove that you can actually do jobs for people. So, third lesson based on all of that, there is no bad weather, just poor preparation. You can get a job, you can have a really great career, but it's not ever going to just be given to you. You actually have to prepare for it, work for it, want it, and chase it. You have to prepare for this. College will get you pretty darn far. Again, college proves to an employer that you can actually do what you set out to do. You can set a goal, you can attain it. You spend enough time reading, writing, answering questions, proving yourself to multiple professors, people that we give PhDs to and utter respect to, and they've then, solidified and codified that, hey, this person, Ignacio, is a person that did the time, he's hireable. You got to do that still. So prepare for that. And I feel like I went through that pretty darn quick, but I'm at my question slide. And before I open it up to the floor and to the Zoom, just real quick, I, I just find it might make it just a little bit easier if I just go through some questions that I've already had before, answer them real quick, just to save a little bit of time, right? Um, so one question I get is, what do you think is the best technical skill for people interested in network engineering job roles? Which is weird because I'm not a networking guy. Um, so I'm not a network engineer. I'm not an architect. Um, with that said, I think a great technical skill in the networking engineering role would be subnetting and have quick knowledge of how routing works, how the packets go from point A to point B, basically. Um, a great attention to detail is also very important for that role. I've got network engineering friends of mine, and their attention to detail is marvelous at times. What are your thoughts on outside courses and learning structures like Coursera? I love them. If there's ever an opportunity to learn more on a platform somewhere on the internet, do it. Just be aware of what's true, what's not true. Don't have AI models teach you, again, because they might get it wrong and you want to learn the right stuff. If you want to focus on cybersecurity, the website tryhackme.com is a really good resource for that as well. Is experience required to get a foot in the door, or can candidates land an entry level role with just certifications and from lab experience? Eeh. Um, you need experience, but how do you get experience? You don't get a job. It's a chicken and egg situation there. Um, if you can do experience, get experience, right? But at some point, you have to sell yourself. That's your resume, that's your cover letter, that's your interview. That's how you get your foot in the door. Do I have the CCNA and do I recommend it? I do not have that. I do recommend it if you're going to do networking. Um, Entry level certifications are never a bad thing. I will never turn someone away for that. This is my first semester. Should I be trying to get internships now or more towards the end? And my answer to that is yes. Yes, do that now, all the time. Your first job right now is school. Your second job is surviving. Your third job is finding a job. Simple as that. Could I just try to persuade a company to hire me with my experience alone? You can. It's difficult. The people that I see that have really, really good technical skills, but no soft skills, they'll get hired. They're going to be stuck in that job, in that role, their entire career. They're never going to move up. They're never going to be allowed to move on up. So if you want to do more than that, you need to do more to get that job. What motivates me to work in a field that is constantly changing? Well, I hate being bored. Simple as that. I always have to be moving. Well, not always moving, but I like to be moving. I like things to be fresh and new here and there. So I really enjoy working security because literally every single day there's a breach. Literally every single day. Every single day there's a new zero day. Um, so it's a lot to keep up on, and I like that. Let's see here. What advice can you give me when I search my first security job? I'm going to give you an answer that no one in this room is going to like, and your professors are going to hate, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. Don't. Don't search for a cybersecurity job. I'll tell you why, right? Because every job can be a cybersecurity job. Full stop. Full stop. When I worked at Amway, I still remember this very, very vividly. Protection services. So they actually have their own protection department, right? Literally armed guards, professionals that operate on the campus and operate internationally. If you're going to travel internationally, they'll sit down with you and give you the lay of the land of wherever you're going, stuff like that, for safety reasons, of course. And what they say very specifically is even the receptionists there are part of security. They're part of the perimeter security. A receptionist job role is still security. Every job in 2026, for the most part, entails security somehow. So, what I tell younger people and anyone that's looking for a new career, if you want to do cybersecurity, love it. That's great. I want you in this industry too. We need more people and we need more diversity as well. But don't look for that dream job. It's going to frustrate you. You might not get it. Find a job. Find a job you love doing and turn it into a cybersecurity job. I've got a friend of mine that he just got fired and he just got a new job back at an older employer. It's a great job, but it's not a security job. And I'm like, dude, yeah, it is. Because you're going to work with other people and other clients and help configure stuff and configure services and remote access. That's security. That's a security job. Let's see here. And then my last question I get a lot, what certifications do you recommend? So very, very specific to security. CompTIA Network Plus, CompTIA Security Plus, and Linux Plus, great ones. From ISC squared, they're CC certified in cybersecurity. Um, Once in a while, that one goes for free, where you can literally take the exam for free. So easy certification to get, literally 1 day's worth of work. And the CISSP, which is another one I have. Um, and then the Red Hat Certified System Administrator. I've got that multiple times now. So that's what I have for you. Any questions that I can help answer today?
We actually had a question in the chat come right through right before you read what certification would you recommend for cybersecurity. So someone asked that and then you
Oh,
kind of predicted it, which
well,
was perfect.
that's why I do that because it's like, well, if I've had the question before, I might have it again. Might as well just front load it. And that way, if you have another question, you can ask that. And I'm just be very direct right now. There is no stupid question. Ask me any question about careers, my life, whatever, and we'll get down to the truth of it. Yeah, right back there.
I'm curious about what kind of job should I look for if I want to be monitoring AI, for like legal images or, those types of things. I want to be able to take that off of the internet, but I don't know where to start. It's just like that I feel like I want to be involved in. And so yeah, I just don't know where to start.
So the term for that, the concept of working within a product service to remove objectionable material, intellectual property, CSAM, etc. That's called security and safety teams. So you're looking for those terms, the customer safety experience, things of that nature. I don't have any specifics as to who to call for that right now, but that's the terminology you're looking for. Um, God help you. I know based on my own job role and some of the stuff I've had to see just working with customers and stuff like that, it takes a very, very strong person to do that. So if you feel called to do that, God bless you. Please have an outside outlet for releasing some of that stuff though.
Yeah, I have been diving really deep into that because I want to work with like law enforcement.
Love that. Please pursue that. We need passionate people for that. Just please make sure you have a therapist, counseling, and an outside outlet for this stuff.
Yeah, I'm all set on
Okay,
that.
good, good.
Thank you.
And was there a question over here? I mean, probably the number one sought out certification for ethical hacking, penetration testing would be the certified ethical hacker certification. I don't have that one quite yet. It's on my to-do list of things to maybe do if I really want to. Really, at the end of the day, for certifications, that CISSP is a good base, but in terms of skill sets, you gotta know Linux really well. You gotta know Python really well. You gotta know Bash and shell scripting really well. Metasploit is gonna be a program that you need to know really well. And essentially knowing how systems work together. Um, so networking, networking, for example, just real quick. You have to understand the concept that you've got clients, servers, and infrastructure in between. And each of those hops could be a vulnerability that can be exploited, right? Each one has an operating system and a user base and a service level, right? Those can all be chained together to get to your goal. So, a good skill set for this work is realizing what your goal is, defining that, and then working backwards from that, right? If your goal if your goal is to stand in front of a stage, how do you get here? How do I get here? Well, I had to park somewhere, I had to walk in here, I had to prepare before I did all of that, right? I had to create my slide deck, my notes, all that, interface with somebody else, all of those steps to get to the actual goal, right? Same thing, but for hacking, for doing that kind of work. You have to figure out what is your goal and then work backwards from there. If you can focus on that and learn what that looks like, it'll be great.
We
Yeah.
have a couple questions in the chat that I want to make sure get asked. First up from Alma, how do you find technical internships?
How do you find technical internships? Well, I do believe there's an actual office here full of people that will help with that. On top of that, networking, meetups is how you do it. So, for example, there's a security group that I'll be doing the same talk to tomorrow night here, actually at GRCC on the second floor. Um, and there are employers there that are maybe hosting internships, right? So that's another resource to use. On top of that, if you live in the West Michigan area, there's between 5 and 10 employers that are well known: Amway, Steelcase, Wolverine Worldwide, Miller Knoll. There's probably a few more. Meyer. Who else am I missing? Let's go with those 5 or 6. They have internships year round, but focused on the summer internship. And it's February. They're going to post those jobs in the next month or two. So go to their career websites, type in that company internship. You're going to get a whole listing of them, and then start applying. And then the next question is probably going to be, what if I don't have the experience or the requirements for it? Apply. Always apply. The anything in life. The worst thing they can say to you is no. And if they say no, what happens? Okay, all right, you're not hurt. You move on to the next one. Or they say, come in for an interview. Great. What's the worst thing that can happen? They say no. Okay, well, you're back to step one. The best thing they can do, though, is hire you. Win, win, win. So always apply, always ask for the interview, always go forward. Do it as often as you can. Again, what's your job? Get a job. Yeah.
I'll read one more question from the chat and then Eduardo, did you still have one? Okay, great. So this one is from Machias. How did you pay for your college and did you have much student loan debt?
That's a great question. I love that question. I love that. Let's get down to it. Yes, I had college debt. I still pay off. I'm still working on my wife's debt. Fun part about getting married, you take on their debt. So I was very fortunate. Well, fortunate, unfortunate. There was a death in my family when I was in high school, and there was a settlement from that, and that covered all of my GRCC education, and it covered most of my GVSU education and living expenses. And then when I went to Davenport, I was too old to use those funds, and so I had to take on student loan debt. I did FAFSA, and I took all the money that the federal government said I was allowed to take. Don't do that because they'll give you lots of money, and you still have to pay it back, by the way. And if you don't work in a public sector job, you definitely have to pay it back. So I don't work in public sector. I have to pay it all back. It took me 8 years to pay it back, and my final check that I wrote was technically out of my 401k because I just wanted to get that monkey off my back. But I was still young enough to do that. I don't recommend doing that. But yeah, good question. Wow, that was a really darn good question.
I was gonna ask, in this industry, will or does a degree make a difference? Because I remember you saying you hit a ceiling in your job history and you went back to
Yes.
school.
So the ceiling that I talked about was actually before I joined security. I was at Amway, and I just kind of realized that I. So when I was at Amway, so this was 2010 ish. I was making $55,000 a year my first year there, and it was no secret there that if you wanted to move up from standard analyst to next tier, you had to have a degree. Wasn't written down, but it was well known. That's just the way it is. So I do recommend getting your degree. No matter what, get your degree. The next part of your question might be, does it matter what your degree is in? Yes, most companies will. A lot of companies have tuition reimbursement because they want you to be smarter and more educated. Um, one point on that, I've seen this online a lot. I like to address it. Will a company pay for my certification, stuff like that? The good companies will. And what you want to convince your boss about is, I don't know this thing. You should give me the opportunity to learn this thing so I can do this thing for you. Because now I'm more incentivized to stay as opposed to leave. If they don't give you opportunity, that's when you're going to want to leave to get that opportunity. Um, from the employer perspective, right, the question is, what if I pay for this and then they leave? And my perspective is, what if you don't and they stay and you don't get the benefit of that new thing? So try to have that conversation in your life with anybody that says, we want to pay for this thing. Absolutely. Just be aware. One warning there. A lot of employers will offer that program to you with a caveat. If you do the thing and you take this money for that thing, if you leave before a certain time period, you owe that money back. So be very aware, read the fine print on those things. I mean, I think my company does tuition reimbursement and, fair stuff like that. Amway paid for some of my education. My first consulting firm, OST, now Vervent, they paid for part of my education. They did about a 50-50 split. Um, I can't speak to companies I haven't worked at, but I think most of the big ones, especially the big ones here in town, will normally help out with that.
We
Good
have a
question.
couple follow-up questions about degrees. Alma asks, is it better to continue with education with certificates or with a bachelor's degree? I'm about to graduate with an associate's in computer information systems, and I'm debating on what I should do next.
That's a really good question. So I left URCC with just my associates, and I hit that ceiling. So I'm going to recommend you get your full bachelor's. I was on the 7-year timetable, right? Again, hike your own hike. It's going to be what it is. I do recommend doing that. Certifications do help, but I'd rather, well, okay. I'm the weird one where I'll take somebody no college, right? Most employers want to see that 4-year degree. You have to remember you're competing against people that did do that, right? So if you're competing against somebody that went above and beyond, what's your above and beyond to match? And you need to think about that. Because as an employer, if I put on my hiring hat, I want the best person for the job, the most well rounded person, the one that can start day zero and do what I'm hiring them to do. Not have them start and go, oh, wait, I don't know how to do that because I didn't finish college. That to say, sorry.
Follow-up degree question. Are advanced degrees like masters and PhDs useful in the cybersecurity field?
If you want to teach, yes. In terms of real world applicability, I don't think so as much. But again, I'm not a Fortune 100 employer that might care about that more for the academic side. To put on my I work in the field hat, I'm at the point in my career where I need to make that decision. Do I go back to college for my master's, PhD, or do I do something different? I'm actually kind of thinking law degree in cybersecurity for myself, just something to set myself apart. Again, it's the above and beyond part. If you don't need the master's, if you don't need the PhD, don't spend the time doing it right now. Get your bachelor's, get into a career, see where you go. It might make more sense later on. I think you had a question first. I want to go over there if that's all right, and then we'll come back to you.
The people on Zoom.
With AI being implemented in some of those SOC roles or incident responses, how do you feel or see that affecting like job availability in the future?
How does AI, especially in SOCs and vulnerability management, impact jobs? That's a great question. Um, Unclear right now. We're at this really weird spot. So we're at a very, very large technological revolution, almost like the industrial revolution all over again, but for this, or when cars first came out, right? When cars came out and no more walking, no more horses. AI is going to change a lot of things. It already has. We're already seeing the cracks in it. We're seeing the safety issues. We're seeing companies not knowing what to do with it. We're seeing a lot of investment that's not, coming to fruition, right? It's going to impact jobs negatively in the short term, I think. Long-term prediction, more jobs. Every time we get new technology, we lose some jobs. Say if the range is 100, we lose 20 jobs, and we're going to gain an extra 100 at the end, right? There will be jobs. We need prompt engineers to figure things out. We need somebody to double check the work, right? AI is great. AI is really darn good at very specific playbooks, right? This incident came in, it's well defined. I should do X, Y, Z action now. Have the AI do that. That's just automation, right? That's just automation. That's not even really smart. That's not AI doing this thing. So, short term, it's going to be weird. You'll be fine though. Yeah, does that help? Okay. Over here.
I know how you keep mentioning like ceilings and whatnot. So like, would you say in this industry, like having a certificate is like you can't build up with having a certificate in this company that being like promotions or maybe different positions?
Um, no, I wouldn't say that you can't move up, right? So I've got a good friend of mine. He never went to college, and he's been moving up through his career just fine. He makes great money, works full time. He's here in town. He's going to retire from his current job just fine. No, no worries.
That's great because I just wanted to go with a certificate and like I keep hearing ceilings and it just like makes me like debate whether I should just keep doing it or go for an associate's.
So my advice is always go a little bit above and beyond. You want at least your associates, because again, you're competing against other people, and what are they coming into the picture with, right? If they've got their bachelor's, I hate to say it because I don't agree with it, but this is what the hiring managers do. They're going to exclude everyone below the bachelor's. Just is. And that's unfair. It truly is unfair to quality candidates out there. And I'm sorry about that. So there will be potential ceilings. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen to you in whatever job career you get. And again, that's part of the hike your own hike, part of embracing the suck, right? As you get your career going, as you find the jobs you want to do, you might find yourself at a company, in a career, in a job role that you're great. You love it. And every year you get your cost of living increase. Every year you get more responsibility. Maybe you move from just a worker role to manager role or whatnot. And with that comes more pay scales, etc. And you're happy with that. That's totally fine. I'm just saying, in general, there are these ceilings that might get hit. I apologize for that.
It's because I feel like in the work field you always get like very like I guess the contrary. Some people say they graduate with like a bachelor's, and but some companies prefer experience over degree sometimes. And
Hmm.
it's like I'm hearing this, and then I'm hearing also what you're saying about the having a bachelor's, how they may prefer that. It's like kind of like mixed answers because I feel like as this how our generation's moving forward, I feel like that is the thing where like they prefer experience over degree sometimes. But I mean, you're in the work field. I mean, if you're telling me a degree most of the time, in general, like
Yeah, in general, degree is always more preferred. Um, that's just our history. I can't argue with the last, 200 years of history of the market in America and the globe, right? You have to make decisions based on past performance. Now, mind you, again, yeah, take yourself. You've got experience doing something, you like what you do. Maybe you start your own business. You don't need a degree for that. And if you have your own business, you can pay yourself whatever you want to as long as you make the money, right? That's always an option. Um, there's co-op opportunities. There's getting together with a bunch of like-minded individuals to build your own company, build your own firm with your own experience. You know, me saying you should get a bachelor's does not preclude that kind of stuff at all. I'm just saying, in general, if you're looking to get hired by a Fortune 500 type of firm located in America, they're going to want to see a degree. Just is. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Yes. Bilingual, Absolutely. In fact, I keep kicking my own butt on this. I kind of wish I paid more attention in high school and maybe thought about that. I took some Spanish. I cannot speak Spanish at all. Um, but if anybody here or on the live stream is thinking about what languages should I consider learning, Chinese. Yeah, yeah. Just looking at the future and where things are going, I think that the true competition for culture and for technology is going to be between the English speaking world and Mandarin Chinese. And it is what it is. There's a question in the back there. Can we get the microphone back there real quick? Thanks, Linus.
So one of my questions if is it really necessary to have certificates if you're venturing into cybersecurity? What if you don't get the certificates, but you get to have your associate degree, get to have your full degree, and you have the experience in coding like Linux, Python, C Sharp, and a couple other languages
Mhm.
that you need for your job, and you want to go into cybersecurity, especially like maybe analyst or cybersecurity ethical hacker and maybe work for the government and all that big companies, do you really need those certificates? Like maybe a white hat certificate or like a red team or like CompTIA plus or like all those ones, do you really like need them?
I wouldn't say you need them. They wouldn't hurt though to have. Um, Again, certificate can equate to experience for a lot of employers, especially government. Three-letter agencies, they like to see those. But I wouldn't say it's necessary. I think education is more important for that than having the technical certificate. But a technical certificate does show you have the technical skill set already. So your degree tells people you've got soft skills. A certificate says you've got technical skills in that domain. Yeah, great question.
From the chat, Alma had asked, is remote work still prevalent in the cybersecurity field?
Oh, heck yeah. Oh my goodness, remote work is everywhere. My job is very, very specific. I travel on site, I have equipment with me, and I do on site security scanning, looking for vulnerabilities and risk. I have to be on site for my computer systems to do that thing. I have to be on site to physically assess where are cameras. Are your desks clean? Do employees lock their workstations? Are there shredders? Are the doors locked? Right? My job role has a physical component to it, but there are so many jobs that are remote. One of my best friends lives in well, he lives in Rockford, but Grand Rapids. He works for Palo Alto out of California, the giant firewall EDR security firm. Do you think he goes to California? No. He works out of his home office every single day, and he loves it. It's a great job. He makes more money than I do here in town, right? He gets that nice California wage and benefits, which is nice. Um, so remote work is everywhere in the cybersecurity domain. So don't set yourself up for having to move somewhere for it, especially entry level, help desk, customer service, SOC. I mean, it used to be that the SOC was, a room like this, right? Giant monitors everywhere. Now SOC is distributed these days. You might have that still at HQ, but for the most part, those tickets get generated. They get sent to somebody's email inbox, and they wake up, they respond to it, and all that. Like literally talking earlier, I was demoing a vendor product a couple weeks ago, and the person helping me out from the company lives in Johannesburg, Africa. Right? Like, okay. Did not know that until they were on the phone. I thought they were in Australia, actually. So remote work is a huge thing still in our industry, and it's only going to expand more.
From the chat, Jacob asks, what degree would you recommend for someone interested in digital forensics?
Ooh, I'm at a disadvantage because I am actually not well aware of all of the potential degrees offered by any institution, so I'll be generic about this. If you want to go into DFIR, which for those that don't know, digital forensics and incident response is what that stands for. So defer, the idea there is there's an incident and someone has to go in and help do the cleanup remediation. That involves things like the technical imaging computers and memory and dumping that information into systems, pulling information out, right? So when I think about that, degrees I'm thinking of, law enforcement adjacent degrees would be great because most of the deeper stuff is going to be related to law enforcement as well. Then a general cybersecurity degree will cover a lot of the concepts for that. So that's what I've got. Um, I think that's a good base. There, again, depending on the exact degrees offered by your institution at the time, there might be one or more specific ones. But for DFIR, it's pretty generic still. It's one of those things where if you're going to go into that work, there's the concept, right? The concept is what college teaches you. The concept of you've got these servers or workstations that got hacked and owned, and you need to collect artifacts from them. Great, that's the general. That's what you learn. On the job is going to be, or in your home lab, things of that nature. It's going to be you're using Velociraptor to pull artifacts from a remote system. You're using an imaging program, name your pick, that's going to dump that hard drive to an image for you to do offline analysis. Your degree is not going to teach you the tools, it's going to teach you the concept. So as long as you have that, you're good to go. Great questions.
Another question from the chat: is a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity more valuable with an associate's degree in network administration too?
I put on my hat looking for that candidate. Yeah, heck yeah, that would be a good one because now you've got the concept of networking, which is important for cybersecurity because you have to know how things interconnect and talk to each other. That's a huge part of what we do. Literally, I had a case the other day. Client got ransomwared, and doing the debrief on it, discovered that well, the networking people thought they had a DMZ. DMZ stands for demilitarized zone. So if you have your internet, your edge, you've got your internal stuff, you have a zone, the DMZ, which is open to the internet but not open to the inside. Well, they thought they had that. It was all inside. And so everything got owned. So it's important to know the concepts of networking for this job. If somebody else at that client or company knew those basics, or if they had requested an audit of that, we could have discovered that and fixed it before there was an issue. Great questions.
So we're coming up on the end of time, but we probably have time for a couple more questions.
Please, I've got no hard stop. I'm good to go. I know Linus does, but I don't. I love doing this.
I
They're all
have one
question
that I can
bound.
ask first. So, Richard, one of the things you mentioned as being so important, soft skills, the ability to network, right? Oftentimes, for students or people who are early on in their careers, the idea of networking or talking to people feels a little awkward. Can you speak to the importance of kind of overcoming that discomfort?
Yeah, that's a really good question and kind of hard. You have to do it. That's it. You have to do it. It's awkward, but here's the thing. Again, I'm going to tell you stuff that most people don't say. We're all awkward. We're all weird in our own weird ways. We're all faking it till we make it. At the end of the day, and I mean that in all seriousness, right? Going out to a strange event where you don't know anybody and there's cocktails and there's hors d'oeuvres and some people are wearing a suit coat and some people aren't and some people are wearing a tuxedo and some people aren't and you're like, I don't know what to do here. Guess what? Nobody does except the person that organized it at the end of the day. All you can do is be confident, fake being confident. We all do it every single day. Put on a name tag and have a few facts about yourself ready to go. What's your name? How old are you? Are you in school? Are you employed? What are you employed doing right now? You don't have to say the company name, just what do you do on a daily basis? What would you like to do? Who are the kind of people you want to meet and talk with? And start there. It's awkward. You're gonna feel weird. You're gonna be all sweaty. Keep a handkerchief or something in your pocket to dry off your hand. It's okay. I keep Kleenex. I literally have Kleenex right there on my bag for that purpose. Right? You just have to do it. So my advice is to go do it. Find something small. Again, open invite. There's a bunch of us meeting up tomorrow evening. I'll do this exact same talk tomorrow, 7 p.m. here at GRCC. Open invite to anybody that wants. You'll have my contact information on the next slide, actually. I'll put that up there just so it's there and available. That QR code, it's safe. It just links to a link tree with all my other bios and socials and all that fun stuff. I've got 2 email addresses up there. The second one is my personal one. It's just first name, last name, richard.maloli@gmail.com. Reach out. I'm happy to give more advice, answer any questions offline, etc. But yeah, to finish the answer, you just have to do it. It's gonna be awkward. It's gonna be weird. But guess what? Embrace the suck. Anything else I can answer today? Please. This is your time. All right. Well, again, you've got my email, you got my socials. Please link up with me. I'm on LinkedIn. Please, please, please reach out. Continue your education. It's going to be very important. I know it doesn't seem it like right now, but it actually is. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Let's get a round of applause for Richard.
Yeah.
So, to everyone who came in person and everyone who joined us on Zoom, thank you so much for coming to today's career conversation. I'd also be remiss if I did not mention thank you to our Media Technologies Department for supporting this event. Adam and Kevin, thank you so much. This is a much better look for us than the ATC 268. So, we're glad to be here and we're glad to stay. If you enjoyed this event and you want to come back again next week is spring break, so you can't. But the week after that, you can. March 11th is our next event, and we're going to be doing a Pathways to Advanced Manufacturing event with Peter Hungerford. He works as the Vice President of Manufacturing at The Right Place. So you got to hear about the cybersecurity industry today. If you're like, this was interesting, what else is out there? Advanced manufacturing will be the topic for March 11th. And if you're curious to see all the events we have coming up in the rest of the semester, you can do so on Radar Connect. We also post announcements day of for each event on our Canvas page. So we have about, I think, 9 more events for this semester. So we have a lot coming up, and you can check that out on Radar Connect. Speaking of what else we have going on in Future Tech, we had a lot of questions today about internships. You may not know this already, but Future Tech provides internships specifically to GRCC students. So if you've applied for a computer science internship before, you know how competitive they can be. What makes GRCC Future Tech's internships different is that they're only available to GRCC students. Rather than competing with 800 other people applying for an internship, you're competing with maybe 10 other people. You have a higher chance of getting in front of a hiring manager, making a connection, getting some interview experience, all that good stuff. And these are the internships we currently have open. So Beacon Services is looking for a networking engineer. Makatawa Technologies is looking for an IT help desk intern. And pretty soon we'll be launching another general IT support intern at Code on Wheels. All of these internships are paid. And if you're interested in learning more, you can find information on our Canvas page or shoot me an email. My email is just my name at email.grcc.edu. I can also talk a little bit more after this if you're interested. We also have an upcoming tour of Davenport University. So if you're interested in learning about Davenport, following in Richard's footsteps, this tour is going to be different from a typical campus tour. It's going to focus specifically on going into IT with Davenport. So you'll be hearing from faculty at Davenport who teach in the computer science department. You'll be hearing from the career services department about how they can support you in finding a career in tech after your graduation. If you're interested in that, you can scan this QR code, or there's an announcement on Canvas with more details and a link to sign up there. I will say spots are limited, so if you're interested, sign up sooner rather than later. This is April 2. And now, finally, another exciting announcement. Yay. FutureTech is launching digital badges. So, by being in FutureTech, you're building so many skills, right? If you're in an internship, you're getting hands on work experience. If you're coming to these career conversations, you're learning how to network, building your soft skills of talking with people. And our digital badges are a way for you to show these skills that you're building to employers. So, our digital badges are offered through Credly, and they can be added to your resume, your Credly digital wallet, or your LinkedIn profile. And these are just ways to show, hey, by being in FutureTech, I'm gaining these skills and it helps set you apart. As Richard mentioned, if you're going above and beyond, you want to tell the employers you're going above and beyond. You want to be able to show them. These badges are how you do that. They're micro stackable credentials that other people don't have and can give you a way to set yourself apart. So, if this is your first Future Tech event, I encourage you to scan the QR code on the top right. That takes you to our interest form where you can leave your email and we can follow up with you about next steps for joining Future Tech. And if this is not your first event, you know the drill. Our event attendance form is on the right. This form is actually the same form as our badging form. So, after you offer feedback on this event, it will ask you, would you like to claim a badge? And if you click yes, you can learn more about all the activities that are required to claim a badge. By attending a career conversation, you are eligible to redeem your first badge. I believe it's the professionalism core badge. So you could leave this event with a badge. All you have to do is fill out that form. With that being said, that is the end of this event. Thank you again so much to everyone who came in person, to our media tech team, and lastly, thank you so much, Richard, for another great career conversation.